In these uncertain economic times, it's easy to be worried about protecting your wealth, your hard-earned savings, and your family's financial future. Plunging interest rates, the devaluating dollar, and political unrest constantly threaten what you have worked hard to earn and all that you own. That's why now it's more important than ever to protect your assets and have the money you need to make your dreams come true. Welcome to the Global Wealth Fortress Report with successful global entrepreneur and wealth preservation expert Joel Nagel. Joel's helped thousands of people just like you protect what you have so that you can make even more and make your every dream come true. So, sit back and enjoy Joel Nagel's offshore expert advice on how you can live the good life at a great price, where the sun never sets on your financial fortress.
Hello and welcome to another edition of the Global Wealth Fortress Report. I'm Joel Nagel and I'm coming to you today live from San Pedro, Ambergris Caye, Belize, and I'm joined again by my very good friend Mike Cobb, who is the CEO of ECI Development, really one of the premier development, construction, hospitality companies, not only here in Belize, but throughout the region. And Mike, thanks for joining me again on the show today.
Good to be here. Yeah.
We talked last time a little bit about how you personally came to Belize.
Right.
Talk a little bit about your company, ECI Development, and why this regional development company is also based here in Belize. I know you have projects in Nicaragua and Costa Rica and other places around the region. Why did you decide to put your headquarters here in Belize?
Yeah. Great question, and I think a lot of people have asked this similar kind of question, and it really boils down to a couple fundamental issues. One, English is the official language in Belize, and throughout the rest of Latin America, it's either Spanish or Portuguese. And so the ease of doing business in English, obviously for native English speakers, is fantastic. The other thing that's also kind of a similar historical relationship is British common law. And so the type of legal structures that are here are very familiar to us coming out of North America, US and Canada, because it originates out of the British common law traditions. And again, if you look at countries like Nicaragua, Costa Rica, Panama, other places that we do business, the legal structure is a civil law structure. It's very different. And in many cases in civil law, you have to be physically present. You have to be in front of a judge or in front of a lawyer to sign paperwork, versus in the common law tradition, if we as two business people decide that we're going to do it by fax or DocuSign, we can, and it's a legal document. And so for the ease of doing business, the British common law makes Belize very, very, it makes it a great jurisdiction to actually be headquartered. And the third reason is the proximity. It's an hour and a half from Miami, it's 2 hours from Houston, about 2.5 hours from Atlanta. So actually to come to Belize is very, very easy. It's in generally the same time zone, north-south. So for those three reasons, Belize has been a great place to have as our corporate headquarters.
Excellent. And if other people are thinking of coming here, setting up a business, maybe talk just a little bit more about some of the peripheral issues like labor, cost of labor, labor laws, things like that. Again, you mentioned English language. I think that's important. But what have been some of the practical things that you've experienced here by operating a business in Belize?
Yeah, the labor laws are definitely different than they are in the U.S. and Canada, but they're not as different as they are in other civil law countries. And the cost of labor, it depends on where in Belize. Belize is not just Ambergris Caye. Ambergris Caye is the most expensive part of Belize. I would say that labor costs here are half of what they might be in many parts of the United States and Canada. In other parts of Belize, whether it's Orange Walk, the Cayo, other more rural areas, cost of labor is probably a third of what it is in the United States. So again, if you've got things like call centers where you want a lower cost of labor, but yet you need the English language, Belize is certainly a place that you would want to look to for something like that. Obviously here on the island, it's hospitality driven, so it's a great place for that. And in our core business, developing resort communities for North Americans, it's sort of that hospitality, but I would call it full-time tourism, right? We have people who own properties and live in them and are really a year-round tourist. And so again, it's a very easy transition for an expat to come here. The language issues, especially on Ambergris Caye, grocery stores, hardware stores, every restaurants, everything you need within walking distance. So it makes it a really easy place for an expat to transition.
Now we're sitting here at your resort. That's a beautiful place. I've been filming the last few episodes of my Global Wealth Fortress report here. Obviously there's not a lot of people. We're sitting here in October. It's not really the high season, and then you add COVID and all the lockdowns. Talk about how you're expecting the season to go in terms of snowbirds and tourists, and are you ramping up for something close to a normal season?
From what I would call traditional hospitality standpoint, the answer is no. I think we're going to see an okay high season. Maybe it'll be 50, 60, 70% of a previous kind of high season. And we're all expecting that. We've geared our business model to that. The nice thing about this concept of residential resort is the people who own homes here, who are from Pittsburgh or Ontario or Kamloops or wherever they're from. I mean, it's still going to be cold in those parts of the world, and this is still going to be very warm in December, January, March, April, May. Those folks are still going to come. It's not a matter of travel in that sense. It's a matter of going to your second home. So this residential tourism business model really levels out some of the peaks and valleys you see in traditional high season, low season, kind of up and down. The residential tourism levels it, but yes, from the true hospitality standpoint, it will be a lower high season than we've seen in the past.
Now, your products here, you mentioned this is a Best Western. You're in the process of building a Marriott hotel. Talk a little bit about the opportunities for retirees or that want to come and spend time here, or investors. Talk about some of the options you have within your company.
Yeah, the Marriott is truly a residential product. I mean, they are, it's a resort and residences by Marriott. And so folks that want to own one to live in it can own it. They can live in it. It's their residence, and they can get room service and all the benefits of being in a resort setting run by Marriott, which is phenomenal. The Best Western we have here in the Bayman Gardens, these condominiums are indeed residences. They're full condominiums. Studios, 1 bedrooms, 2 bedrooms, starting at $100,000, $99,900 for a studio Best Western. And the nice thing about that is that if you want to live in it full time, you can. It's yours. It's a residence with beautiful tennis courts and club facilities, all those kinds of things. But when you're not here, you can put it into the Best Western rental program and actually pick up rental income that's strong. The branded component really takes what is a good return generally on this island and turns it into an excellent return on investment with Best Western or the other branded hotel products that we have as well.
Now, I spoke a few days ago about the various types of residence that people could acquire here in Belize. One of the newer ones is an investor visa.
Yeah.
Talk about whether these properties you're talking about, the Best Western, the Marriott, do they qualify people for residence if they acquire them?
Absolutely they do. The minimum investment to pick up the full-time residency that translates into a citizenship is $250,000. And so you could have, you could buy 3 of the studio units here in the Best Western, or a 1 bedroom in a studio to hit that 250 mark as an investment product, because you can't live in 2 of them, of course, or 1 of the Marriott units, and they start right at $299, so call it $300. 1 Marriott residence qualifies you for that residency package that ultimately becomes a citizenship here in Belize.
Great.
Yep.
Well, thanks for joining me, Mike. It's been great.
Yeah.
I mentioned the other day that we're having a bit of a quarantine. When you first come, you're supposed to quarantine on your resort, and your resort here is a Gold Star resort.
Yep.
That's a very high standard, and thank you for having us here. Thanks for taking time out on a Sunday to meet with us and chat a little bit on the Global Wealth Fortress Report. I want to thank you for tuning in. Until next time, I want to wish you health, happiness, and a wealth that can't be taken by others. Take care. See you next time.
Thanks for joining Joel Nagel and the Global Wealth Fortress Report, a whole new approach to asset protection and estate planning, so that now you can live the good life at a great price, where the sun never sets on your financial fortress.